RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. I'm not quite sure I'm looking at the right thing. Something doesn't look right about this. But anyway, hey, look at that. It's showing my bucket hat. So it looks like, anyway, I haven't worn this hat in a while. This is when I was touring Europe a few years ago, and I got this hat in München, Munich. I guess that's in Germany. I want to say Austria, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, so a little bit of a different hat here today. My head's looking a little bit, keep in mind, it's still early in the morning here on the West Coast. So I have to get up very, very early. Yeah, you like that, Norre? This one's for you, right? You're probably the only person who can read what the hell that says on my hat. But anyway. I was gonna wear my ball cap, but I was like, "Oh, what the hell?" I was digging through my boxes. I still haven't even unpacked from moving into this place. You can see how committed I am to living here. And I was like, "Hey, there's my Munchen hat." So I thought, "What the hell? I'd wear my Munchen hat today." Welcome back to the Frivolity. As you can see, it's about 5-10 minutes past the hour here on Wednesday, June 28th. So coming into the end of the month, also too, this is the quarter end. So maybe, we can't really do it for these free videos, but maybe in the Afterparty show, we'll go through the first 2 week study and see how that's looking and how accurate the fund managers were. And let's see if maybe we're going to have some window dressing into the end of the quarter here. So it is a pretty big event here. Also, too, site members have pointed out really, really big deribit options expiry for Bitcoin and I guess Ethereum as well. But just a staggering amount of Bitcoins, $30,000 call option, call options there on deribit expiring here on Friday. Huge open interest. I also showed you that sort of at the money options there in BITO, which is an exchange traded fund that takes positions in Bitcoin versus the futures contracts or via the futures contracts. So kind of an interesting end of the week here. Also too, we've got, like kind of like I don't know, I guess, is it the Commonwealth? Do you still call it that? I don't even know. But anyway, sort of like the Britain, Australia, Canada. I don't think India is a part of any of that anymore. But those sort of like, I don't even know what the term is, but they all celebrate things like, well, in Canada, it's called Canada Day. But anyway, holidays on the 1st of July. Does that mean that the Friday is a holiday, or does it mean that the following Monday is a holiday? I'm not quite sure, actually. It'd probably be a good idea to check into that. And then the Americans, they have their holiday on the 4th, which is a really weird sort of disconnect. And, Chris, just out of curiosity, do you know how the holiday is going to be celebrated down in the States? Is it like Tuesday?
I believe it is
Fireworks
Tuesday.
Day?
Fireworks Day, I'm not sure. I'm talking from a market perspective. I think futures markets are halting or closed on Tuesday itself.
It is going to be closed on Tuesday, right? So that
Correct.
means Monday's going to be a really screwy day, and this whole week's just going to be a mess here. So be careful with what you're doing in the market. We got quarter end, we got that huge Bitcoin options expiry, and we've got this really wonky holiday weekend. And gee whiz, I mean, do we need any more Hallmark holidays? It's remarkable how like every single month now there's like literally 2 holiday weekends, which of course we know that the banksters, they go and fuck around in the market and, Rothschilds and all that crap and do all their funny business through these holiday sessions. And of course, you all, you're all familiar with crypto, so you know how crypto usually acts through these funny holiday sessions as well. Anyway, crazy worlds. So just be forewarned. We got a lot of weird stuff coming up here. Suppose we'll have baby powder report tomorrow with Julian. I don't know whether he's going to do it live or pre-recorded, but it'll be interesting to see what he sees in the market tomorrow. And then I'll pop in, maybe have a quick boo with you guys on Friday. Now, we need to do a bit of a poll. I still haven't booked the flight to Chicago yet, and I'm humming and hawing about whether this meetup idea in the Chicago area is a half decent idea, or do we just maybe leave this too late this year? I do understand that, it's not like big party time in crypto land, so I don't know whether, making a big show of this really makes a lot of sense. But just FYI, we were kicking around the idea of having a sort of a Chicago kind of informal meetup. I think specifically the place our Chicago guy, Zugi, has sort of areas, I think it's an hour or so south of Chicago, that he's hanging out. Zug, you're on the call here, eh? What's the name of the little town that you're hanging out?
Yeah, the best place to look up is Michigan City or New Buffalo.
Michigan City or New Buffalo. So the question ultimately here is, can we actually get maybe like a half a dozen people to come on out? Obviously, Zug's there. Chris is going to be there. I think the Matador was also in that area. I know Adam was kicking around the idea. So we got a few people, but the question is, can we get like a good dozen or so people to come out for that meetup? I'll be mentioning it today. I'll also be mentioning it on Friday. And really, I got to make a decision about booking flights pretty damn quick here. I'm running out of time. So just let me know if you could, if you're a site member and you're watching this later on, or, if you're, on YouTube. We'll be doing the Coinigy show tonight, Wednesday. So, maybe tune in for that as well. And just let me know if you're in the Midwest and if you could come out for something like that the middle to the end of July. So got to find out about that ASAP. Chris was asking me to mention that today. I forgot to mention that yesterday, so my apologies there. But anyway, so give me some feedback. Let me know whether we can drum up a good dozen people or so for this meetup. As for the market itself, I think probably the market was primarily dominated today by, well, we'll pull up the trading spreadsheet. What was sort of the news du jour that drove the market? And like right out of the gate, first thing this morning, because it was over in Europe, we had this big ECB forum where Chair Powell and liar Lagarde. And then what's interesting is they also have the Japanese central bank official guy there, but I haven't got a clue what his name is. We just call him the Prince of Japan, I guess. I don't know. What was the name of that famous book? The Princes of I think it was called Princes of Japan. Anyway, about the Americans taking over the Japanese financial system following
Princes of the Yen.
Princes of the Yen, right? Is that what you said, Chris?
Yeah, Princes of the Yen.
So anyway, the point of the matter here is lots of job owning from these characters. And of course, as you can see from the headline, basically the central bankers, of course, they're always late. They always do too much and they always go too far. I mean, if you're going to take anything away from today's broadcast, it's that. Fed always is too late. They always do too much and they always go too far. So what a big surprise. These, bureaucrats are like, yeah, we still got to keep raising rates. And my hunch is that they're just going to keep raising rates until they break something, until something goes bankrupt. Was watching, and it's interesting at the same time, you notice that Japan, right? I always suggest that we, here in North America, we can actually take our lead based on what the Japanese are doing. And you can see the Japanese are just going apeshit to the upside here. Very, very bullish scenario there for Japan. And if anything, the irony of it all is that as China unwinds and starts to crap out, you're probably going to find Japan comes back into the fore. Because for a good chunk of my career, Japan was the world's second largest economy, and China was just a nothing burger. I still think China's a nothing burger. And if you want a funny anecdote on how absolutely stupid China is and how stupid the economics are, and if anything, it makes perfect sense why what's happening here in Canada, because Canada and these woke politicians here in Canada, they got sucked into this trap. But you want a fun anecdote of how absolutely stupid Chinese society is, just go on to my at CRI Investor and watch this video. And actually, it's interesting, when I posted this, the only reply was from this gentleman who says, being in China 5 times, I can attest to seeing most if this of this, I guess is what he wanted to say. I mean, it's laughable how corrupt China is and just how stupid it is. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is I think that you're actually going to see Japan come roaring back here over the next little while. So we'll see how it goes. And they had another big update here. Of course, you've heard me barking about things like Toyota Motor Company. I definitely think that stock's heading higher. And of course, you've heard Sjord talking about hydrogen and the evolution of that. Toyota, of course, has developed a hydrogen combustion engine. And actually, I heard, I read an article, I read an article today that there's a train now in Europe that's running around powered by hydrogen, which I thought was fascinating. I can't remember whether it was out of Germany or Southern Europe, but the wheels of hydrogen motion are in motion, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway. So that's what dominated sort of the trade this morning, if you will. It was really nice to see, waking up, seeing, this is interesting. These guys are in the food business, and some of these food stocks, and these guys technically have a monopoly on this industry, doing very, very well here, just booming higher. This was an old site member guy we used to have help me do these videos, Kevin. This was his idea, so shouts out to him. What was really interesting is I even distinctly remember when this thing was popping up here at the end of 2001, beginning of 2022, I even put tweets out saying, hey, Kevin, great pick, great job. And then I go back to Twitter and I try and find the tweets and they're gone. So I thought that was a little disappointing, but I wanted to show you guys about this. This was Kevin's pick. So, if anybody is talking to Kevin these days, give him a shout out. Nice pick. Also, too, this was Joe Z's pick a while ago, and it's booming higher. Look at that, Joby go. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm in these warrants. And I think I bought like this bottom over here a while ago. So it's starting to get going. Really good looking engulfing bar there. Beautiful reversal bar. This is a weekly chart. Beautiful double bottom, actually like a triple bottom, even like an Adam and Eve kind of thing. Can't really touch this now, but if anything, great to see. So we've got some up, and I mean, look at the stock up $2.50, 40% rally on the day. So these kind of names are doing pretty well here. This is kind of the anecdotal evidence that I wanted to see, to start seeing that we're actually turning the corner here on this seasonal trade. Because like I've told you guys before, the cliche goes sell in May and walk away. But by the time you actually get to the July 4th US holiday weekend, most of the negativity is priced into the market, and we actually start getting ready for this sort of summer silly season. And in the summer silly season, these kind of names can actually do very well. So keep your eyes peeled. I don't know where the hell they're taking this thing, but man, it's got a head of steam behind it. Lots of buying interest, no divs really yet. Willie's not even stupid. So I don't even know where the hell they're going to take this thing, but it's great to see. We got a couple really good looking stocks on the go here. But at the same time, too, remember, nothing straight up, nothing straight down. There was a name that I recently mentioned, and I know a few people on the site did participate on with me. Just understand that this stock is breaking down, and that was one of these little pharmaceutical stocks that I picked up recently, and I have to sort of make a decision as to whether I'm little old lading this and just going to ride it into the ground, which, you know, on balance in my retirement account, that's how I take all of my positions. Don't really want to take a huge amount of risk on any one particular idea. But I wanted to find the damn symbol here for you. But it was FULC, the Fulcrum Pharma, and it broke down here. So, you know, this is kind of a thing where, you know, do you want to sit on a losing stock for a while, a la little old lady kind of idea, or do you just want to take the punishment and just get the hell out of there now? Obviously, that's entirely up to your trading plan. I can't make that decision for you. I think this was it here. No, actually, it's not that one. Oh, okay. This guy's doing okay, so it's not him. What the hell is it? Because I remember, is Meg here? Meg, you even asked me the other day about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that damn thing's breaking down. I saw it this morning, and I was like, oh boy, we better get the hell out of there. It's not this one. It's where the hell is it? More underpants. More underpants. Of course, what a tease, eh? That jerk. That beamish guy. Where the hell is the damn thing? It's actually interesting to see a lot of the alternative fuel stocks are trying to firm up here a bit. As I said, natural gas looking really interesting here. Or that hydrogen story is looking really interesting. Where the hell is it? Fudge. Hey, when I do that, I kind of look like a doofus. You're in here somewhere, you bastard. Oh, it was this gene. That's what it was. Yeah. So this is the one. As you can see, I had a stink bid working here down below, and it broke down here last week. So I have to decide whether I just want to take my lumps and get the hell out of there. I would suggest if you were trading this thing, then you probably want to, you probably just want to walk away. If you're little old ladying this, okay, but just understand it's broken to new lows. This thing looks pretty dangerous here. So just be aware of that. And I might just blow this thing out here by the end of the day. I haven't really made a final decision yet. So looking at the stock market, few uppers, couple disappointments, kind of business as usual. It's the way the market goes. We did have our stock pickers club meeting last night. Didn't really see anything hugely dramatic that came out of that meeting. So can't really comment on anything in particular there for you guys. Other than if you did participate in the Joby in days, months, years gone by, pay attention to that. It's obviously moving in our direction, so that's good to see. And as we said, Kevin's name, Park City, seems to be performing quite nicely here. And when I read the sort of rags, the scuttlebutt is that they're in the sort of food security business, and they have a pretty damn bright future. And I mean, look at that damn stock, eh? If anything, half of your job as a trader, trying to get yourself into these names and then don't tinker. Just let the damn thing do its thing. Now, we have it at 2.618 up here, so you know, I did need to go back, and actually I was wrestling with all my silly computer and trying to figure out average costs and stuff for purchases in the past. So I have to figure out whether I'm at a double level and whether I should let some more go. But damn, that's a nice treat. So Kevin, if you're out there somewhere in the world, thank you very much for that. As for sort of like the broader market, you know, trading and all that kind of fun stuff, as I said, we had that ECB conference. At the conference, Mr. Powell himself came out and explicitly said that we're going to be raising some more, raising the rates at least a couple more times. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but nonetheless, it did put one hell of a bid into the US dollar index, which was interesting unto itself. Don't really have a W here, right? We've got a V bottom, V top. So really, ironically enough, at this point here in the price chart, I think we're just sitting in a trading range. So there's the bottom end of your range, there's the top end of your range, and we're just back and forth, back and forth. And you've heard me say before, candle body highs for trade location. So it really wouldn't surprise me if there were actually pro traders that were in there shorting that. And they probably did things like bought the euro rather than actually, because you don't really trade this US dollar index. What you would be smart to do is trade, if you had a buy signal in the US dollar index, you would short the euro, you'd short the yen, you'd short the franc, you'd short the Canadian dollar, you'd short the Australian dollar, that kind of thing. And actually today, I was proud of myself because yesterday, just coming back from vacation, holy cobwebs. And I even noticed that when I sort of came back, I started doing the whole, hey, I'm so smart, look at me, I'm cool, right? And I started sim trading and just saying, yeah, I think the market's going to top, I think the market's going to bottom. You notice that when I did my 4 hour, I didn't really have anything set up. This is no man's land, no man's land. Do we have a 4 hour double bottom? It turns out there was a double bottom. And actually, it was a good idea to be thinking long in the stock market yesterday. Stock market had a pretty good rally through the day, but I just couldn't get long to save my soul. And then there is that double bottom. I think the double bottom actually had translated into like a bullish flagpole here now. So there is that. No, actually, maybe that's this morning. Yeah, let's go back to that 4 hour chart. So there is that double bottom. So the read of the market was correct. It's just that I was out on vacation and I come back and kind of sloppy behavior. And I was buying and selling at really stupid levels. Thank heavens I forced myself to sim trade. I want to see that I'm actually producing half decent trade ideas and half decent trade results before I start going and actually risking real money in the market. So, and that was a good plan because, man, I was super cobwebby yesterday. So, woke up this morning, said, okay, Brian, let's get a little bit more serious about this. And of course, I'm supposed to be a demonstrator of best practices to you guys. So I look like kind of a doofus when I start trading like that. But at least I'm an open book, right? At least, at the very least, hopefully you all heard yesterday, I was scolding myself in these free videos saying, man, Brian, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, point of the matter here, woke up this morning, went through my routine, and turns out actually crude oil was at a 4 hour trade location when I woke up this morning, coming up against horizontal support and resistance, candle body lows for trade location. Not a bad level, 1,000,000 miles away from moving averages. Not a bad level to be thinking long. So my plan, and this is just how I like to trade, is I try and find levels off the 4 hour chart, which I think this is legit. And then at this point, I drill down to the lower time frame charts and thinking long down here, I want to hunt a situation where we have trade location. Then I want to see indicator confirmation. Then write this down if you want help to try and sort of get better at trading. This 3-step setup works very, very well. And then I want to see some price structure. So what did I do this morning? Notice the 3 hours. This is, 3-minute chart. Oh no, screwed that up again. God, I always do that. But I think actually I can fix this. I think there's just one too many slashes in here or something. There it is. So here is those levels, and what I do on the 4 hour chart, just FYI, is, wow, was that not a bad idea to be thinking long there? Ay. So anyway, I like that level. Then I want to drill down to the lower time frames, and then I want to start hunting my setups. And hopefully what you guys see here is, and this is exactly what I teach in the education programs. So we've got the trade location identified. You see all these lines, right? And I just sync the lines over different time frames. Then I look down at my indicators and I see, oh, gee whiz, as the market is coming into these levels, it paints a bullish divergence. These lows are lower in price. These lows are higher in indicator values. Then we bottom. Then we rallied up, and you can see once the indicator was confirmed divergent, and we got there's a really stupid reading -80. So all through here, I can now start thinking long. Like I said, we were against key lows, fib levels, good old Brian's favorite fib. So now I can think long. And of course, hopefully all of you, what you see here is that looks like a big fat W. And what was cool about this one, of course, is that you know how much I'm a fan of engulfing bars. So I had an engulfing bar actually confirm the W bottom. I mean, this is exactly what I teach you guys. This is what I want to see you guys doing. And, I'm trying to make this trading process as easy as possible for new people to learn. This is about as easy as it gets. If you can get an engulfing bar, notice the high of the engulfing bar was right up against those highs. So this was just simply put, if the engulfing bar itself confirms, I buy. And that's exactly what happened here. It opened up, it went down, then it went screaming up. And of course, I got filled on a buy on stop order, and up we go. I do like the idea of building into your trading rules to try and force you to lock in profits. It's not a good idea if this thing is a huge winner to all of a sudden have to ride it all the way back down and get stopped out at a loss. That's mentally tough. So at the very least, this was 50%. This level here was 50% of my anticipated move. So it was just something along like that, looking for that 4669 and 50%. So I had my move stop to scratch level hit there. It is interesting because even some of the day traders that trade different setups, like one gentleman trades the, he calls it the CFU. I used to trade with a pit trader, this guy named Nebraska, and he used to trade this basically just as soon as the market takes out these highs, look for some sort of failure to short. And it was interesting. I was long from here and Craig was short from up here, and he made great money on this little dump. But at this point, I had my move stop to scratch level, and it was just like, oh, am I going to get stopped out at scratch? And then the market turned around and went to new highs. Then at 66% of the anticipated price move, although this looks like it's a little bit off. It's not exactly the numbers I was working with, but hopefully you get the idea. Kind of like the bot setup that I run, and hopefully you guys are familiar with that. Let's see, can I just throw this on here somewhere? 0.66. And of course it's backwards. But hopefully what you see here is, there we go. I at 66% of the anticipated move, or basically the market's moved 2/3 of what I think it is. Now I want to start, just making sure I made a couple bucks on the day. So we had a potential railroad tracks fire here. So I moved my stop up underneath the railroad tracks. And as you can see, I got stopped out on the trade. But this is, if I was going to grade myself on process goals, give myself 100%. And I'm more than happy. That was like a 33 tick win on the day. On the big boy, that's 330 bucks. It was only $33, $34 on the little micros. But nonetheless, 100% on the process goals. Pat on the back, Brian, you're heading in the right direction. This is what you got to do to make money from trading. And as you can see, the whole market just insanely volatile. As soon as the speakers started speaking over there in Europe, the market just started going absolutely crazy. So at this point, I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm kind of happy that I just hopped off and, just take the money and run. It's a winning day. Be happy. You can see this insane Darth Maul type candle. It's not really Darth Maul, but sort of, big wick, big wick, big tail. This was the inventory release number. And, if we're going to talk econs, and actually while we were in the room, guys were kind of joking about this, going, this doesn't make any sense. How can these people be just so utterly wrong about this week in, week out? But you can see here is the EIA energy information administrations, their crude oil ending stocks. And of course, these government data points are highly suspect to revision, highly manipulated. If it serves political purposes to manipulate this data, you know these politicians. How do you tell when a politician is lying to you? You know how this goes, right? So what a remarkable miss there, right? So market was looking for 1.7 drawdown, came in 9.6 drawdown. So not a big surprise that the crude oil market did move higher here on the day. But considering I was just, like I said, on break, and I want to get sort of best practices going, and I want to sort of start feeling confident about being the demonstrator of best practices, I was happy at this point just to close up the day trading trade for the day, call it a win. 100% win ratio. Hey, what the hell? That's got to be good for the psyche. But I suppose you could argue that on that there is that EIA release. I don't know whether I really would have gotten any way to get in on this. There's a cute little back and forth, maybe bullish bot kind of scenario. But I really think the trade was probably to buy this double bottom, risk to these lows being broken, and then just leave it alone. Maybe you let one go at this initial profit objective. You could have had your stop at scratch, and if that's the case, you would have been blown out at scratch on this, or you could have just left the stop at the original level and just see where the wind blows. It is what it is. Long and short of it here is I'm not in this trade. I'm just a nice little demonstration of how a day trader can go and hunt setups, and I followed my process beautifully, and I'm actually very proud of myself. Get back on track, do best practices. So yeah, what time is it? Are we out of time already? Oh boy, geez, that was quick. I guess we'll just finish up with a quick boo at the corn. I will say before we move on from the stock market, just FYI, anybody who's joined the site recently, the algo had a little bit of a hiccup last night, and please understand it's still very much in development. Sjord is still sort of figuring out how to build automated data processing on the fly. It does look like we're back to normal. We had all of the stock indexes all spit out 100s yesterday. You can kind of see this was the data point from yesterday, and that just wasn't accurate. And I even mentioned in the videos that something just didn't smell right about that. And actually, it looks like he's already recalculated everything. So this was a bit of an anomaly yesterday. I would still say that we are pointing down on the stock market, but at the same time, too, we're coming into the quarter end. I think there's going to be a lot of position squaring. And I think what's going to end up happening here in the stock market, and you can already start to see it to a certain degree, is you're getting a lot of sort of, I want to be long tech and I want to short brick and mortar. As I said in the after party, we'll probably go and take a look at the first 2 weeks study and see how that sort of developed and what it's sort of suggesting for the end of the quarter here. But I suppose, this Tesla, you can see he's booming higher here. I think a lot of the alternative fuel, in this case, electric cars, but that sort of green technology, sort of theme of the market, if you will. I think you're probably going to see that money's flowing into that. And so if Tesla's going to have a big up day, and maybe some of the others in that space, I don't think it really should surprise us. What the hell that damn fin this bitch? Oh, this is it. What a knucklehead. Yeah, look at the little Joby here is again another sort of one of these transportation related names, if you will. These guys are in airport services. I don't know, but look at the volume, man. Holy crap. I mean, this thing's just taken off like a rocket here. This also should be a gap and go. So if we finish out the day up here and then tick up through that high tomorrow, then that actually would be a continuation pattern. So I don't know where all this thing's going. I'm certainly not going to get in its way, but it's a good sign that I think the summer silly season is starting to come back. to the market. Now, that means, hey, we're going to make money from speculating in the market. So just to sort of finish all that theme off, probably I don't know whether it's going to happen through the weekend or how this is going to play out, but I definitely think that there is a huge incentive for them to park this Bitcoin here into Friday's options expiry right at this 30,000 level. In fact, I was maybe we'll look at it in the after party. We pulled down the option open interest, and there's just a staggering amount of call options there at 30,000 on Deribit. I did show you guys the BITO, which I think to all intents and purposes is basically the same thing, because all they do is they trade the Bitcoin futures out of Chicago. And it's an ETF. And it's basically the open interest is exactly the same thing here. There's just an absolute ton of open interest right on this $17 option. And what a surprise, the market is like literally parked here at 17. I'd say, and you probably won't like this, but that is technically an inside bar. And then if we drill down to things like 4-hour charts, this inside bar actually did fire. And you can see we are sitting right at the inside bar fail level. So for the sim trader, just to get back into demonstrator of best practices, want to make sure everything I do is everything that we teach you in the school program, all that kind of talk. Do we have trade location up against the top end of the range? Do we have indicator confirmation? Suppose off the daily's not quite yet. 4 hours, big bear div right there, big bear div in RSI. Willie's stupid. You can see Willie just M'd out. So I don't actually mind the idea of working a short against this top here, looking for a 50% retracement, and that's basically what this trade is. And it's up a whopping $1.25 right now. Really, there's nothing to do with this thing right now. Set it and forget it. We go up through the highs, great, you get stopped out. If we dump into 50%, then that spits out the 2-to-1 risk reward. It's just rinse and repeat. We do exactly the same thing day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out, century in, century out. It's just the same old, same old. And as I said, I don't think that it's, I don't know, I don't think it's even realistic to, and in the after party, we can go and look at the specific numbers, but there is just a world of options all around this strike price here. And I can show you in the after party the Deribit data. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to take the market up through that before Friday. Now, once the expiry happens and we're into the holiday weekend, well, then any old damn thing can happen. But over the next 2 or 3 days, kind of like this 4-hour chart setup, could we get a bit of a dump here ahead of that event? I think it's realistic. And, the setups are setups are setups. I mean, it's just the way it goes. It's trader's life. Okay, I think I'll leave the free broadcast at that. That was about 30, 35 minutes. I hope you got some value out of that. Slow and steady wins the race. PMA for the win. All the best, and we'll see everybody for the after party here shortly. Bye for now.